Hello guys, welcome back once more again in my channel guys. If you did not subscribe to this channel, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button and then you click the thumbs up so that you show your support in my channel guys. Okay, uh as I've promised, now we are back. So today we are doing a different stuff. We're going to be looking at measurements. Okay, but in this measurement, we are in this question paper, we are going to check measurements only. Okay, so when I was going through this question paper, I've realized that the measurement was in question one and also in question number two. I mean question number three, not question two. So I will only be walking you through question one and question number three, and also a bit of question number four. Question four also have measurements 4.2. That's what we'll be dealing with for tonight. Okay, so we are now dealing with previous question papers. Okay, so without any waste of time, this question paper is May-June 2022. That was written for supplementary last year. Okay, yeah, so the other questions that I will be leaving out is for maps and plans. So for today, our focus is going to be on measurements. All right, so maps and plans, we are going to do them but on a later stage. Okay, so for this question paper, we're going to check only measurements. All right, let's start here on question one. This question one, some of the things there, they are for maps and plans, but because they're in one question, they're clustered in one question, so we are not going to pick one and leave the other. Okay, so we are now going to look at the first one. There they say the FISO is a builder. Today I think I'll depend on one pen. FISO is a builder who uses building plans and measuring instrument. Some measuring instruments and scales used by builders are shown below. So if we can try to talk about those. The first one, we are given a bar scale, and then the second one we're given the steel tape, and then the other one is still a tape, but this tape is used to measure the long distances. And then we are also given the number scale in number D. Number E, we are given another tape, but this tape is used on smaller items, like circular items. Okay, and then number F, we have a ruler. Number one, we have a number scale as well. Okay, but then this one can be used on house plans. Okay, all right, number 1.1. Point one, they say the most appropriate scale. So if they say the most appropriate scale, so your eyes should be on the scales. Okay, your eyes should be on the scales. So they say the most appropriate scale to draw a map of South Africa, meaning that we're talking about a bigger scale. Okay, so we can be talking about this scale. Okay, a number scale which is in form of 1 is to 50,000. So the answer for number one is D. Then they said the instrument. So if they talk about the instrument, we must look at this 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the instrument most suited to measure the circumference of a dinner plate. Okay, so you can't use this on to measure the diameter of the plate. Okay, and you can use this one as well because this one talks about the meters. So definitely the answer here is going to be number E. You can use this tape. The most appropriate scale to draw a plan of a house. Okay, the most scale appropriate to draw. You cannot measure kilometers on a house. Okay, so you can definitely use this one. 1 centimeter represent 1 meters. Okay, so the answer here is going to be number G. The instrument most suited to measure the width of a soccer field. That will be our number C there. The most instrument the instrument most suited to measure the length of a pencil, that will be number F, which is the ruler there. Okay, now let's go to the next one. Right, 1.2. Let me try to increase my screen for in case that people won't be able to see it clearly. Okay, 1.2, let me go up again. The sketch below shows a standard brick with dimension used in South Africa. Height, width, length: 70 millimeters, 112 millimeters, 240 millimeters. So they're saying use the information above to answer the questions that follows. So already we can see that we are given a 3D shape here. This is a 3D shape because why? We can see the length, we can see the breadth, and we can see the height. Okay, so now they say state which formula A, B, or C below can be used to calculate the total surface area of the given brick. Okay, so if we can check our shape here, the shape of our brick is a rectangular prism, and we know that our surface area of a rectangular prism is equals to 2. Remember, you must not depend on what you're given. Okay, so you must always know that when I calculate the surface area of a rectangular prism, this is what I'm doing. So it's 2 length times breadth, okay, plus 2 length times height, okay, plus 2 breadth times height. Okay, so we can substitute here, and then we're going to check which one looks familiar with this one or looks the same as it. Okay, let's check. Our length is 240, so we're gonna have 240, then we're gonna have 2 here. How can I write this in a nicer way? Let me not write on top of this width. Let me write here on a side. So that should be 2 into 240 multiplied by the width of 112 plus 2 into 240 multiplied by 70 plus 2 into 112 multiplied by 7. So if we check the first one is say the area of the front plus the area of the right hand side plus the area of the top. So definitely this one is out. Why am I saying this is out? This is not calculating the surface area. It is only calculating the area of 3 sides. But on this brick, we are having 6 sides, okay? Then let's go to number B. Number B, it says 2 multiplied by 240 multiplied by 7. And it says 2 plus 2 multiplied by 240 plus 2 multiplied by 240 multiplied by 112 plus 2 multiplied by 112 multiplied by 7. So if you look at this and you look at this again, so they are the same, meaning that our correct answer here is number B. Okay, number C is also out because if you look at number C, they were coming all right, but they are not multiplying them by 2. It's the same as number A. If you look at number C, it's the same as number A. Okay, now number 1.2.2, they say state the unit of measurement for the volume of this brick. Okay, so this brick, on the video that I was doing the volume and the surface area, I talked about the volume of a solid and a volume of a liquid. Okay, so a volume of a liquid is always measured in liters or milliliters or kiloliters. Okay, but the volume of a solid is always measured in centimeter cubic, meter cubics, millimeter cubics, or kilometer cubics. So here if we check, we have millimeters, meaning that The units that are going to be used here, they are millimeter cubic, not just millimeters. If you talk about millimeters only, that means you're talking about a distance, not a volume. Okay, then 1.2.3, convert the length of this brick to meters. How much is the length? Our length is 240 millimeters, so we want to convert this to meters. Remember, on our convention, if you did not check my convention, go and check. I have a video on how to convert. Okay, so what we're going to check, the relationship between meters and millimeters. Okay, so according to the metric system table, it says that 1 meter is equals to 1000 millimeters. Okay, so we are going to check which side we are given between the right and the left. So we are given the right, which is 240 millimeters. So we are going to put a question mark because we don't know how much is 240 millimeters in meters. Then we cross multiply. So that will become 1000 question mark, which is equals to 240. Then we divide both sides by 1000 so that this 1000 can cancel this. We divide again here by 1000. So our unknown value, that should be 240 divided by 1000, that should be 0.24 meters. Okay, let's proceed to 1.2.4. Determine the maximum number of rows of bricks that can be stacked height wise, okay, to a height of 2100 millimeters. Okay, so it means that we need to know, if we're stacking our bricks in a height wise, how many bricks can we put on top of each other if we have a height of 2100 millimeters. Bear in mind that one brick has a height of 70 millimeters, and then the total height that we have is 2100 millimeters. So we will want to see how many 70 millimeters will fit in a height of 2100. So we can end up having 30 rows. Okay, because our total height given is like you're given this is the total height that you have, and then you want to know how many bricks you're going to put like this. You understand? So our total here is 2100, and in this one brick here, it can only take a height of 70. So you must check how many 70s are going to fit into 2100. Okay, and that will be done with our 1.2. Let's proceed to 1.3. Okay, Maria uses the recipe below to bake scones. Ingredient makes 1 dozen. Okay, so you must know that 1 dozen is equals to 12 items. Okay, 1 dozen is equals to 12. Okay, 12 units, however you want to say it. Okay, so if we're talking about a dozen of eggs, that means we're talking about that there are 12 eggs. If we talk about a dozen of muffins, we talk about 12 muffins. If we talk about dozen of scones, we talk about 12 scones. So in this case, Maria bakes scones, meaning that 1 dozen is having 12 scones. Okay, you're just making sense of the information that is given. All right, so let's proceed. So the ingredients given is 75 gram butter, 2 large eggs, 75 gram sugar, 4 tablespoon baking powder, and 230 milliliter milk, and 500 gram flour, 1 cup raisins. Okay, baking instruction: bake for 15 minutes at 200 degrees Celsius. Okay, Use the information above to answer the questions that follow. Convert the mass of the flour to kilograms. Let me use the blue color. Convert the mass of the flour to kilograms. So the flour here, we can see that we have 500 grams, meaning that we must convert 500 grams into kilograms. So we must check the relationship between kilograms and grams. So according to the metric system, again, 1 kilogram is equals to 1000 grams. Okay, now we check, we have the left and the right. Which one do we have? We have the grams. That means we're gonna have 500 grams here, which is equals to a question mark. Okay, then what do? We cross multiply. So I want to assure you that if you make a cross multiplication your best friend, you're going to pass measurement. Okay, so we're going to start by a question mark, multiply by 1000. That should give us 1000 question mark, which is equals to 1 multiplied by 500. That gives us a 500. So our missing value, our unknown value, is the question mark there, which we divide by 1000 here. So our question mark end up being 0.5. So we know that our question mark was in the left hand side, and the units in the left hand side are the kilograms, meaning that the question mark represents 0.5 kilograms. Okay, now they say determine the number of large eggs needed to make 30 scones. Okay, so now what are we going to check? We are going to check how many eggs did they use to make 12 scones. Okay, so according to this, they have used 2 large eggs to make only 12 scones. Okay, they have only used 2 eggs to make 12 scones. So now they want to know how many eggs will they need to make 12 scones. So if you can break that 30 scones into dozens, it means that, remember, 1 dozen, it can make so if you check, okay, let me remove this, let me remove this. Remember, 1 dozen has 12 scones. Okay, so 2 dozens is going to have 24 scones. Okay, half a dozen is going to have 6 scones. Okay, so if you check the here, we're going to need 2 eggs, and the other one we're going to need what? We're going to need, that means okay, for us to make this 12, we need 2 eggs. For us to make another 12, okay, for us to make 12 scones, we need 2 eggs. For us to make another 12, because now our scones is broken into 12, 6. So if you add this, you know that this is a dozen, this is a dozen, this is a half a dozen. Okay, so here we're going to need 2 eggs, here we're going to need 2 eggs. But how many eggs now will we need to make half a dozen? Okay, so for us to make half a dozen, we're going to need 1 egg, meaning that the total number of eggs that will be needed there to make 30 scones is going to be 5 eggs. Okay, so I'm also going to do it in another way. Okay, where we can also use the cross multiplication. Okay, whereby we can say let me see, We can okay, let's do it this way. 1 dozen is equals to 12 scones. Therefore, now we check. We are given 30 scones, meaning that we're gonna have 30 scones here. Then we don't know how many dozens are there. There. Then we multiply by, and remember, 1 dozen is made by 2 eggs. Okay, so we're going to have question mark multiply by 12. That is going to be 12 question mark, which is equals to 1 multiplied by 30. That is 30. Then our missing value is equals to 12. 12 the question mark. Then we divide both sides by 12. Then we will end up having 30 divided by 12. That gives us 2,5. So our unknown value is going to be 2,5. So the 2,5, it tells us that 30 scones is 2,5 dozen. That means it's 2 dozen and a half. Okay, so for how many eggs? Remember, our question here need to know how many large eggs. Therefore, we remember that this 1 dozen was made by 2 eggs. So we multiply this by 2, then we'll end up having 5 eggs. Okay, then let's proceed to, okay, each scone has an average diameter of 7 centimeters. Write the average radius of each scone. So how do we calculate a radius? Radius is equals to diameter divided by 2. And then our diameter is 7 centimeters. Then we divide this by 2, which gives us 3,5 centimeters. Alright. Now they say, the next one, 1.3.4, they say, calculate how many full dozen scones can be made with 500 gram butter. So we must check here. Remember, this recipe make 1 dozen, which is food, isn't it? So it is made using 75 gram of butter, meaning that 1 dozen, they needed 75 gram of butter. So now, what if we are going to use 500 gram of butter? How many dozens are we going to make? This is our question mark. Okay, then we cross multiply. So it's going to be question mark multiplied by 75. That is 75 question mark, which is equals to 1 multiplied by 500, which is equals to 500. Then we divide both sides by 75. Then we divide here by 75. Our question mark is equals to 500 divided by 75. That is equals to 6,67. Okay, but the question says calculate how many full dozens can be made. So do you see that we are only going to have 6 full dozen? This other dozen is not going to, the 7th one is not going to be full. It is only going to be 67% full, meaning that it's not going to be 100% full. And then the question here needed how many full dozen. Okay, so we're going to have 6 full dozen that will be made with 500 grams. Okay, then let's proceed. 3.5. The scones were placed in the oven to bake at 1410. Write down in words the time the scones were placed in the oven. So that is 10 past. This is 10 past 2 in the afternoon. Okay, right, we proceed. Okay, we are done with question number 1. Okay, so I hope that I have answered all the questions correctly, and then you understand how I have answered them. Okay, let's proceed to question number 3. Question number 3. Okay, question number 3. Chiro is renovating her home. She is removing the wooden framed window and is replacing them with the aluminum framed windows. The dimensions and the shape of 2 of the window frames are given below. In the rectangular window frame, 4 windows can open. It has 3 sections, A, B, and C. The circular window frame has no window that can open. Okay, so we can observe them and then we can see them there. Okay, so that is area A, area B, and area C. Right, we are given the length here of 149 centimeters, the outer diameter of the window, length, that is the distance A. From this point to this point we have 55 centimeters. Then from this point to this point we have 99 centimeters, as well as C. So the width of this window frame is 149 centimeters, meaning that the biggest side here is this one on top and the one on the bottom. Then here we are given the inner diameter of 605 millimeters. Okay, let's proceed. Okay, the following formula may be used. Okay, so I'm not interested in the formulas. As long as you know your shapes, you should know your formulas, because the examiners, they have tendencies of changing the formulas. Okay, now they say use the information above to answer the question that full. Okay, so now they say determine the perimeter of the rectangular window frame. So we know that when we calculate the perimeter, we calculate the distance around the object. Okay, so we are going to calculate the distance around this window frame. Okay, so how can we do that? We can see that we are given A as 55, and those are the length. Okay, so perimeter, we're going to say this is let me write it here on top. Actually, 3.1.1 perimeter is equals to 2 length plus 2 breadth. But our length, let's calculate our length first. We have 55 centimeter plus 99 centimeter plus 55 centimeter, so that our length is equals to 110 plus 90. 110 plus 90, that should be 200 centimeters. Yeah, our length is 200 centimeters. So we're going to have 2 multiplied by 200 centimeters plus 2 multiplied by our width is 149 centimeters. Okay, so that is going to be 400 centimeters plus 149 multiplied by 2, that gives us 298 centimeters. So when we add them together, that gives us 698 centimeters. So that is the perimeter of that rectangular window frame. Okay. Oh, okay. This one, this 200 is incorrect. This one, I can see now, this is 99, not 90. So that is 110 plus 99, which is 209. Okay, 209. We're just going to change a few things there. 209, 209, then 209 multiplied by 2, that is 418. That is 418. We're gonna have 418 centimeters. Then let me remove there. Okay, 418 plus 298, that is 716. Sorry for making that mistake. Sorry for making the mistake. I didn't see that that is 99. I thought that was 90, and that is 716. Okay, all right, let's proceed. Calculate the inner area in centimeters squared of the circular window frame. Okay, so now we have to ask ourselves again, how do we calculate the area of a circle? We are given a diameter of 605 millimeters. Okay, and then they say they want this area in centimeter squared, and then we are given our diameter there in millimeters. Okay, so what we have to do now, we have to convert our diameter into centimeters. Okay, and then how do we calculate the area of a circle? Say area is equals to pi r squared. Okay, so we don't have the radius there, we have the diameter. Radius is equals to diameter divided by 2. Our diameter is 605, then we're going to divide it by 2, which gives us 605 divided by 2 gives us 605, and I no longer want to make mistakes. Okay, which gives us 302.5 millimeters. So we also need to convert this into millimeters, therefore we divide it by 10. Okay, and then divide by 10, that gives us 30.25. Then our radius is 30.25. So our area is going to be 3.142 open bracket. So we're gonna have 30.25 centimeters to the power 2, that is equals to 3.142 multiplied by 915, 915.06 centimeters squared multiplied by 3.142, that gives us 2875.13 centimeters squared, because we are looking for an area. Okay, then that is how we're going to calculate the area of the circular window frame. Okay, then let's proceed to 3.1.3. They say one of the window panes of the rectangular window frame broke. Write a probability as a decimal that it is not one of the window panes that can open. So we're going to check what are the chances that the window pane that is broken is the one that cannot open. Okay, so let's check how many window panes do we have here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we have 7 window panes. Okay, the ones that cannot open is this one cannot open, this one cannot open, this one cannot open. So we have 3 window panes that cannot open, meaning that our probability here is equals to 3/7. We have 3 chances of finding out that the window is the one that cannot open. Okay, they say write the probability as a decimal that is not one of the windows that can open. So we have 3 chances of getting that it is the one that cannot open. Okay, so they say we must write it as a decimal. So we're gonna have 3 over 7, which gives us 0.43. If we round it off, 0.43, then that will be our 3.1. Okay, then we proceed to 1. Okay, we proceed to 3.2. They say Chiro also intend tiling the dining room and the lounge floors. They say the dimension of the lounge floors are 40 meter by 5 meter, and the dining room floor 3 meter by 4 meters. Information and cost. Chiro intend using tiles that are 35 centimeter by 35 centimeter. One box of 4 tiles. That means one box inside is going to have 4 tiles. Okay. Cost 143 rand 84 cents. The tile cement cost 99 rand 90 cent per 20 kilogram bag, which covers 3 meter squared. Then they say she needs 4 bags of tile grout at 89 rand 90 per 5 kilogram bag. Okay, the tile grout is this powder. I don't know if it's a powder or what, but after they have laid the tile, they will just pour that powder on top of the, I don't know if it's a powder or what, but they'll just put it on top there so that that cement can no longer be visible. Okay, so yeah, and then she will only need 4 bags, and then one bag is sold at 89 rand 90 cent. The cost of labor is 2,500, and Chiro's total budget for the tiling project is 15,000. Okay, use the information above to answer the question that follow. Show that the total floor area to be tiled is 32 meters squared. Okay, the area to be tiled. Chiro intends tiling the dining room and the lounge. The dimension of the lounge are this 4 meter by that. So we must calculate the area of the dining room and of the lounge, and then we add them together. Okay, so we're gonna have, let me go up again. We're gonna have 4 multiplied by 5, which is 20 meters squared. Then this one is going to be 3 meters by 4 meters, which is equals to 12 meters squared. So when we add them together, we get 32 meters squared. This is the dining, and this is the lounge. Okay, my eyes. The lounge. Okay, right. We can proceed. 3.2.2, determine how many boxes of tiles Chiro will need if an extra 10% of the number of tiles must be added for cutting and breakage. Okay, so now we're going to check. This is the area to be tiled, so we need the area of one tile, and then you see that the units here is meter squared, and then the dimension of a tile are given in centimeters. So when we need the area of a tile, we're going to say 35 centimeters divided by we are converting here, we are converting centimeters into meters. So it's going to be 100 multiplied by 35 divided by 100. So we're going to have 0.35 meters multiplied by 0.35 meters, which gives us 0.35 multiplied by 0.35, which gives us 0.1225 meters squared. So this is the area of a tile. Okay, that's the area of the tile, and the area to be tiled is 32 meters. Okay, meter cube, meter squared. So we will therefore say 32. We want to see that these areas, how many of them can fit in the total area to be tiled. We want to see the area of a tile. How many times can a tile, one tile, fit in this area? Okay, so you're gonna be 1,1225 meters squared. 32 divided by 0,1225. So it says we will need 261,22. So we cannot buy a half a tile. Okay, so we can definitely buy 262 tiles. Okay, but remember, we have to buy extra. We need to buy extra 10%. So we're gonna multiply here by 110 over 100. We are already increasing. We know that this 262, it is the number of tiles before the increment. Okay, so it was 100%. Nothing was added, nothing was subtracted. So now on top of that 100%, we are going to add 10%. Okay, so this 100, why do we divide by 100 here? It is because the given number of tiles here, they are 100%. Nothing was added on them. Okay, so if we add 10% there, we're gonna have 262 multiplied by 110 divided by 100. That gives us 289 tiles. Okay, so if this gives us 189 tiles, and then it says we must they are talking about the boxes, isn't it? They say determine how many box of tiles. Okay, remember, one box is going to have 4 tiles. It's going to have 4 tiles. Okay, so we need to see how many 4 tiles are inside 289, because now we're going to pack them into 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Okay, so we divide here by 4. Divide by 4, and that gives us 289 divided by 4. That gives us let's see, 289 divided by 4. That gives us 72,25. So we cannot buy 72 what 20. We cannot buy 72,25. We must buy one box there. Okay, but out of that one box, we are not going to use all the tiles. Let me see, we are actually going to use one tile in that box. So if you buy 72 box, that means you're not going to buy all the tiles that are required. Okay, so we must add one tile there. Okay, right. So now what do we do? That means we are going to buy 73 boxes. Okay, now we proceed. Now we proceed to the there's something that I want to fix somewhere here because of the convention here. 32, because now I'm getting different answers here when I calculate again. Let's start here. 32 meter squared divided by 0,1225. That gives me 261, okay, it's fine. Let's leave it. Then they say, show by means of calculation if Chiro's budget is enough to cover the tiling project. Okay, now let's go and check. And the first thing that Chiro is going to pay here, she's going to pay the boxes. So we said, according to this, we got 73 boxes. So you're going to have 73 multiplied by, how much is the price of one box? 143,84. 143,84, which is equals to 73 multiplied by 143,84, which is equals to 10,500,32. Okay. And the other thing that she's going to spend on is the tile cement. Okay. And in the tile cement, they say it covers 3 meters squared. Okay, one bag. So the area to be paved is 32 meter squared. So we'll want to see how many times does 3 meters squared goes inside the total area to be tiled. So it's going to be 32 divided by 3. So that gives us 10,67. This will give us actually 11. So she's going to buy 11 bags of cement because he cannot buy 10. So she's going to buy 11 bags. Each bag is going to be is going to cost her 99 rand 90 cent. That will be 99 rand 90 cent, which will be 11 multiplied by 99 rand 90 cent, which is 1098,9 1098,90. Then she's also going to spend on the bags of the ground, which there will only be 4 of them. So it's going to be 4 multiplied by 89 rand 90 cent, which gives us 359 rand 60 cent. Okay, and then she's also going to spend on a labor of 2,500. Then we're gonna add here, this is the labor, that is the labor of 2,500. So all in all, we are going to have let's add now 10,500 plus 1,098,90 plus 359,6 plus 2,500. That gives me 14,000. That gives me 14,458 rand 50 cent. That means the budget is enough. The budget is enough to cover the whole project. So this was everything. Here is question 3.2.3. okay, Right. Now we're going to look at another question, which was question number 4. But question number 4, this is only two. How many questions? 3, 4 questions, I think. Yeah, 4 questions. Okay. This one we're gonna have a special answer sheet because yeah, they have long questions. If you can see, it's 8 marks, 8 marks. So yeah. They say the cinema owners use a generator to continue showing movies during load shedding. The diesel of the generator is stored in a cylindrical diesel tank as shown below. Okay, uh, we can see that cylinder diesel tank. It has a briefing valve, the inlet, the ladder, the outlet, and then the stand. We can see the diameter, we can see the length. Okay, we are also told that the stand and all external attachments are made of stainless steel and will not be painted. The base area of the external attachment is 1 meter squared. And then they are also telling us that 1 meter cubic is equals to 1000 liters. Okay, and then they are also saying all dimensions shown are outer measurements. Okay, then the first question they say, state the purpose of the briefing valve on the tank. Look, here is the briefing valve. We have the inlet. That means that is where they're going to pour in the diesel. Okay, so I just want to give you an example. If you take a 2-liter bottle and then you put a hose pipe that will cover the bottle, and then you open the tap so that the bottle can be full, you will see the bottle rising. Why is the bottle rising? Is because now inside that bottle now you are putting water, and there will also be the pressure that was inside that bottle. There will be some air that was in the bottle already. So when you put the water there, remember the water is weighs more than the air, you understand? So when you put the water will definitely sink down, and then the air will come on top of the water, but the bottle will now raise because the air that is inside doesn't have any way to go, you understand? So the bottle will end up raising. Okay, so here this valve is that when they put in a diesel, the air that was in this tank must go out so that the diesel can be filled nicely, so without the tank exploding. Okay, then they say the steel used to make the tank is 5 millimeter thick all around for safety reasons. Okay, and they say the tank is filled to 95% of its capacity. Show that the inner diameter of the tank is 3,21 meters. So now if you check, the outer diameter of this tank is 3,22. It means that they have added the thickness. Okay, so what are we going to do now? Now we have to calculate the inner diameter excluding the thickness, but the thickness here is given in millimeters, so we are going to convert 5 millimeters into meters. So we can say 5 millimeters divide by 1000. That will give us 0,005. Okay, okay, so so what do we do now? We take our diameter, which is 3,22, then we subtract the thickness, which is 0,005. 3,22 minus 0,005. That gives us 3,21 meters. Okay, now they say calculate the maximum liters of diesel that this tank can hold according to the safety regulations. So they need the liters. Okay, so what can we do? Because we are given the 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 length or the distance measurement, so we are going to continue using the distance measurement to calculate the volume, so that after that we can now convert our solid volume into a liquid volume. Okay, meaning that from the meter cubic to the liters. Okay, so what we can observe, remember the diesel is going to be filled within the diameter of 3,21, not a diameter of 3,22, because this is the outer diameter. Okay, so like I said, I'm having a okay, let me try to write here. Where will I write? Okay, let's check. The volume is equals to 3,142 multiplied by that. Let's go this side. I have a special paper. Okay. Volume is equals to pi r squared multiplied by height. So our pi is equals to 3,142 into brackets. We don't have a radius. We have the diameter of 3,21 meters. We divided by 2. That gives us 3,21 divided by 2. That is equals to 1,605 meters. Okay, so here you're going to substitute by 1,605 meters, then to the power 2 multiply by our height is, how much is our height? Oh, this is another paper here. Our height was given as 7,25. Okay, 7,25. But now we're going to remember one thing again, the thickness. This is the outer height. So on the inner height, we are also now going to say our outer height was 7 height. We're going to say 7,25 minus 0,005, which will give us, let's see, 7,25 minus 0,005. That gives us 7,24 meters. So you're going to multiply by 7,24 meters. Okay, that is equals to 3,142 into, then that is 1,605 to the power 2. That is going to round it off, is having a lot of decimals. 2,58 meters squared. Okay, let me remove this bracket here, and then we multiply straight away. Then we multiply here, we multiply here, and then we're going to have 7,24 meters. That is equals to 3,142 multiplied by 2,58 multiplied by 7,24. That gives me, it's this flu thing. That gives us see again, 3,142 multiplied by 2,58 multiply by 7.24, that gives us 58.69 meter cubic. Okay, that is going to be our volume right there. Okay, right, so we are now going to convert our meter cubics into liters. So they say 1 cubic meter is equals to 1000 liters. So we are going to take it that 1 meter cubic is equals to 1000 liters. Therefore we are having 58.69 meter cubic, which is equals to question mark, then we cross multiply, then that will be the question mark is equals to this multiplied by 1000, and that means that tank can hold 58,690,0464 liters. But remember, according to the safety regulations, it needs to be filled up to 95%. This is the 100%. The tank can be filled up to, it can hold 58,690 liters. But now, because of the safety measures, the tank must no longer be 100%, but it must be 95%, and we multiply there by 95 over 100. That gives us, it will have 55,755 54 liters. That's how much liters the tank will have. Okay, then we move to the next one. Okay, the next one, it says the external surface area of the tank, excluding the base area of the external attachment, needs to be painted. The spread rate of the paint is 3 meter squared per liter. The manager stated that he would need less than 30 liters of paint to complete the task. Okay, and then they say verify by showing all calculation whether the manager is correct. You may use this formula. Surface area of a cylinder in meter squared is equals to, now you are given this formula to follow. Okay, because this type of a cylinder, now it is having some attachments, you understand? So we can now use this formula to calculate that surface area. So it says 2 multiplied by 3.42 multiplied by r into brackets r plus h, which is the height. Okay, so the surface area of that is equals to 2 multiplied by pi multiplied by r. Is it plus here? Okay, open brackets again. We open the brackets again. We open the brackets and we say r plus h. So now we're going to assess how much is our, okay, we can substitute this one, 2 multiplied by 3.142. Then let's go and check out how much is our radius. We have I think somewhere we have used the radius, man. Our radius is 1,605. So we're gonna have that 1,065. Then we can say radius equals to 1,605 into 1,0605 plus our height. Which height now are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about the outer height, which is 7.25. Okay, so we're gonna have 7.25, 7.25, 7.25, and then that will give us let's see, we got, this one, let me see again. I think this one we can punch it straight away in a calculator, because that will be, okay, let's do it. 2 multiplied by 3.142 multiplied by radius. Yeah, I think we can do it this way. It's going to be 2 multiplied by 3.142 multiplied by 1.605, and that gives us 10,08582 meter multiplied by 1.605 plus 7.25. That gives us 8.855 meters. Wait, this in meters. Yeah, those were in meters. Okay, then we're gonna have, let's see, when we multiply this by 10,08582, now we are having 89,3099. So this one we can round it off to 89,31. So that means this is the outer part of the gas tank that needs to be painted. But now we have to exclude the base area of the external attachment. So we are now going to subtract here. This is the meter squared. We are now going to subtract 1 meter squared, because it's made of the stainless steel, so it doesn't need to be painted. So you're gonna have 89, 88. You're gonna have 88 because we're subtracting 1. Right, we're gonna have 88,31 meter squared. Okay, right, so we are not done. So we are also being told that so this is the total area to be painted. This is the total surface area to be painted. Let me write it. Total area to be painted. Okay, so now we are being told that when they paint there, the paint spread rate of the spread rate of the paint is 3 meters squared per liter. That means 1 liter can cover 3 meters squared. Okay, so now let's find out how many 3 meters squared do we have in here. How many 3 meters squared do we have in 88, this? So you're gonna divide this by 3 and find out that the answer is 29,44. That means this is the paint that they will require to paint the whole to paint the whole cylinder now. Okay, but remember when they're going to buy, and the manager stated that he would need less than 30 liters of paint. So that is true. Indeed, he will need less than 30, because these are the real liters that will be needed to paint an area of 88.31 meters squared. Okay, so that is our end of this lesson. So if you have liked how I've taught you, make sure that you click the subscribe button. You also click the thumbs up, so that, and then you also go to the comment side, and then you can comment on what you still need me to emphasize on, so that I can do it next time. But for now, good luck. Ay.